life, nothing for them. Number. They want to be bad. It's always here. They don't want to be unkept all the time.
The war in the ancient Yugoslavia has caused the exodus of more than 2 million refugees from Bosnia and eastern Croatia. While the men were fighting in the front, over 700,000 women, old and children escaped to safer places in the Croatian coast. Most of them has lost everything, their families, their homes, their jobs, and their hope in the future. To help the refugees rebuild their lives, the San Socrate Association was founded, based upon the principles of the ancient peace movement. With young volunteers from Croatia and all over the world, San Socrate carries out pedagogical, formative and assistential activities in 21 refugees camps.
Also, San Socrate provides some funds for that. So the main goal is just providing the better quality of life. In this moment now, what I'm talking about accommodation and food, but when I said Sun Socrate goal, the quality of life is social life. So, because Sun Socrate is here to improve the social life, or organized where it's not organized before.
The Autonomous University of Barcelona, the UAB, starting from an idea of the objectors which are doing the civil service, organized during the 92-93 course a direct solidarity campaign for the affected from the war. The objectors organized the collect of over 30 tons of urgency material. A convoy of the Sarajevo Helping Urban Committee transported the material to Bosnia. Few days before Christmas time, 16 objectors were leaving Barcelona destination Veli Losinj. They were the first objectors to do the service abroad. Their wish to help the refugees made the UAB Social Service Office take the proposal to the Justice Ministry, which agreed it. In Holy Week, the experience was made again, supported by the municipal government of Barcelona. Summer of 1993. 80 students and objectors get ready to set out for Croatia again. It is the first conjunct experience between volunteers and objectors in an international solidarity task. The expedition, technically organized by the AOC, has the support of the Generalitat.
Si nosaltres volem donar a la prestació un caire propi i donar-li una tònica, un signe d'identitat que singularitzi la realitat de la prestació social aquí a Catalunya, aquí al nostre país, doncs probablement és relacionant-ho amb aquest treball propi de societat civil que és el voluntariat.
Most part of the refugees are concentrated in the urban nucleus of Istria, especially in Savudrija, Fasana, Pula and in the Adriatic island of Losinj. Placed in the center of Pula, the Kameniec is an old caserne where 800 Bosnian people live in precarious conditions. Different families have to live together in the same room. The reduced space causes tension and anguish among the children and the teenagers. In the camping of Beli Jose in Savudrija, the refugees live in pre-built modules delivered by the Belgian government. They take turns to wash in only 2 toilets. the food is scarce and it isn't enough nutritious. In April 92, the Croatian government decided to dislodge the refugees to regain the touristic use of the camp. The mobilization of the Bosnian people, supported by an international campaign, and the Belgian government stopped the closure. Since then, the tension is in the air. In the camping of Puntigela, near Fasana, the refugees have been taken from the bungalows to small caravans given by the Swiss government. The living together with the tourists is the main problem there. More lucky are the Croatian displaced people from Slovenia who have been placed in the paradisiacal island of Losinj. They live in antique Serbian houses and their adaptation to the new medium is more easy being Croatian citizens. Anyhow, they represent one of the groups more traumatized by the war. Many of them come from the martyr city of Vukovar. The war has torn the future of 3 generations, but it's the older people who have reacted, locking themselves to a painful state of mind.
La gente mayor está muy, no sola, porque suelen venir con la familia, pero se nota bastante aburrida. Están todo el día tumbados, todo el día ni pasean, no se ven grupos que paseen. Se reúnen en mesas y ahí tienen la charla. Entonces, si se pudiera, no sé, implicarlos en alguna actividad o en un poco algo que les anime la vida, pues mejor.
Per l'aspecte psicològic és patent en què estan tot el dia, per exemple, les mares estan tot el dia prenent cafè i fumant. Tot i que a Bòsnia és molt típic fumar i prendre cafè, però s'ha potenciat moltíssim. Es despreocupen dels nanos i, a més, com que no tenen el marit, doncs no han de treballar per ells.
In the camps, it is easy to realize that the war is not only a casualties balance, but the drama of thousands of refugees who don't know how to adapt to their new situation.
Ne znam, nije bi voljela biti vozim gdje mi je bliže da se vratim, ali nema od povratka, ama ništa.
Voljela mislim da bi ostala ovdje, da znam da će se vratiti godinu, 2, ili mislim da bi bilo sve dobro tu.
This woman doesn't know if her husband is dead or alive, just as many other women who stand by the only phone in the camp, wishing their families from Sarajevo can call them in a quiet moment in the Bosnian capital. Perhaps one day she decides to spend her savings to pay for a smuggler who will drive her out of the country. Despite this hopeless situation, the religious feeling seems to be waning between the Bosnian Muslims, a practicing nation, but very late in the civil life.
Mualim, to je mualim kao vjeroučitelj. Imamo vjeronauku, imamo u školi tu i vjeronauku ovdje u džamiji. A djeca dolaze od 7 godina pa nadalje. Od 7 do 16, 17 godina otprilike. To je ta generacija.
In Pontigela, the natural environment in which the refugees live has been a positive influence in their state of mind. The problems arise out of the not easy living together with the terrorism, despite the good intentions of the camp manager.
We organize very nice the refugees and we say, now you are on holidays, like our tourists. Please take care about how you are looking and take care about your holidays.
In the reality, the refugees must get their food in the kitchen and they are not allowed to use the dining room. Ever since they were taken to the caravans, they don't have any meeting place, and if it rains, they have to shelter inside. Their use of water is controlled, and facing the winter, their heating is not guaranteed. In Pantigela, as in the other camps, sanitary assistance is limited to only one doctor for all the refugees. There's a lack of medicines. They don't even have analgesics. The situation in the camp of Kamieniec is totally different. It is basically a closed space. This affects in a negative way to the refugees. Jo is Danish. She's been working in the Kamieniec as a co-leader for 9 months. She coordinates the work of the volunteers and she's the link between them, the camp management and the refugees.
In Pantigela they have the sea and the woods and the children, if they live in that environment, they are easier to deal with than the children from here in Kamieniec, because we have some very difficult children, some of them, not all of them. And I think that has something to do with the way they live.
The economy of the island of Lozinj was based on the tourism before the war started. The tourists left the beaches for 2 years and now they are slightly coming back. The authorities try to make an impression of normality to show them it's a safe place to spend the holidays. Therefore, the presence of the refugees has become a non-desirable element.
Devo dire che il turismo non va d'accordo con i profughi, perché noi siamo tutti quanti umani e vogliamo aiutare i profughi, ma quando siamo in villeggiatura, quando vogliamo, non so, svagarsi, allora si secca di vedere uno che è poveretto, non so, che è senza niente. Quando siamo in villeggiatura vogliamo essere più sereni e non vogliamo vedere il male che è presente. Così che noi abbiamo Lucino come un centro turistico, li abbiamo sistemati a Veli Lošinj.
The people accumulation turns Sabudria into the worst camp. There's 3,000 refugees living together. Getting food for everyone is the main challenge for the camp management.
And sometimes a bean, and basically the food has very same taste, and there is not enough vitamins. It is enough nutritious, lot of calories inside, but this is not, no vitamins, no minerals, and lack of milk products.
For example, is better food, little patient is here.
Recently, a new tension factor has been introduced among the people who live in Sabudria, police controls. Commander Deudon is the link between the camp and the ACNUR.
Le gouvernement croate a légalement, et c'est presque normal, le droit de faire un contrôle. Ça se fait quelquefois, je ne sais pas chez vous, mais enfin en Belgique, quelquefois, à certains endroits, on contrôle l'identité des gens. Donc il y a, et j'insiste sur le fait que ça s'est passé très calmement, sans brutalité.
Croatian police searches the refugees who don't have papers for staying. The illegal ones receive a letter where it says they have 3 days to leave the camp. According to Commander Dodon, they are not allowed to go back in Bosnia. Either they can't cross to Slovenia, and not even to the European community. They've only left the illegality. Adnan and Bernard arrived in Savudria 6 months ago. They quit the Armia, the Bosnian army, sick of the war.
I don't want back in Bosnia because I see lots of blood in Bosnia, and like that I have lots of bad friends. Everything is destroyed.
If police caught me, they will send me back, and if they send me back in Bosnia, most probably I will never go out.
All the Catalan volunteers were given lessons in pedagogy, non-verbal expression techniques, and geopolitics. Boy Scouts and the pedagogy department taught the right way to treat the people who had suffered the war effects.
Selo malo, ali
L'objectiu de les nostres activitats allà era deixar un pòsit i permetre que els refugiats, una vegada motivats per tornar a fer coses, organitzin la seva vida diària.
The instruction was completed with some notions of Serbian-Croatian language. The Croatian volunteers, with whom the international volunteers work together, make easier the translations.
Han hagut de fugir de Bòsnia perquè, havent perdut tota la seva família, havent perdut totes les seves possessions i, escapant-se per muntanyes van aconseguir arribar aquí. Evidentment, aquí van començar a treballar, en principi com a refugiats, i d'aquí van passar al càrrec de co-líders.
The meaning of the activities the volunteers have developed in every camp is related to the space conditions and the refugees' needs. In Puntigela, there have been developed programs of joint activities between the refugees and the tourists. In Kamenjak, the main activities have been sports and gymnastics. Sunsocrate, with help from the volunteers, want to give the children a self-confidence feeling so they can express their emotions and their thoughts to regain and rebuild their inner world. Activities involve many creative workshops. Drawing, painting, different games and sports, and educational lessons. In this way, the RUA has been helpful for the volunteers to get in touch with the children and involve them in the activities.
Avui mateix hem fet una cercavila, també estàvem preparant una mena de gincama, un carnaval, i per tot això porta una feina de fer disfresses, de fer un drac, de fer titelles, etc., que és en el que anem treballant amb els nens. És gent que s'avorreix aquí i es tracta de treure'ls fora i fotre'ls-hi canya, no? Hem acabat amb tot el material destrossat, però jo crec que els nanos aquesta nit dormiran planxadets, no?
The fact that some volunteers had come before made easier the contact with the children.
La rebuda va ser molt emotiva, sobretot els nens que se'n recordaven de com te veies, o inclús jo trobo que a vegades se'n recordaven de com eres, no? Ja sabíem qui és més de jugar i de perseguir crius, o qui és més de jugar a esports.
In closing, the activities for the children pretend they can grow up as any other child. Milan is a 10-year-old boy who lost all his family in Vukovar. He's been in Veli Losinj for 2 years. He lives in a sanatory and the authorities don't care for him.
Došlo cvijeće i proljeće, došao Đurđev dan.
The presence of international volunteers in most of the camps has made possible for the refugees to learn new activities. In Savudrija, there's a Dutch volunteer expert in theater.
I like to do it a theater play because I know myself how, if you play in a theater, how you can forget the whole other world, and also while you're preparing it, how the whole world is away for the moment. And that's something I would like for people here and the children, that maybe for a quarter, maybe for 10 minutes, they're in a totally different world where they forget what's happening around them all.
With the adult and the older ones, the main goal is to involve them in simple activities so they can structure their new situations through their work. Besides, they can also get little gain from their work.
If they have something to do, it makes them structure their daily life in more complex way than just having a breakfast, lunch and dinner.
Hem aprofitat que en aquest grup hi venia un voluntari que es diu Santi, que és un home de 57 anys, i ha donat una altra visió totalment nova al grup, que és que ell s'interessa més per la gent gran, i bueno, hem fet un munt d'activitats amb aquesta gent.
Vaig passar una setmana perdut, què fas aquí, que realment aquesta gent estàs fent alguna cosa realment important per ells, no sé, sí, no, però va haver-hi una tarda que em vaig donar compte claríssimament que havia fet bé de venir aquí i això va ser molt important, aquella tarda. I a partir d'allà treballes amb molta més alegria i molta més força.
Concretament, la valoració que fem d'aquesta experiència és molt positiva. Hem estat en els llocs, en els camps de refugiats, examinant la situació. Hem de dir que tots els voluntaris d'aquesta universitat que han estat en camps de Croàcia estaven francament entusiasmats perquè podien aportar alguna cosa i preocupats perquè hi havia moltes altres coses a portar que estaven fora de la seva mà.
Nobody can truly predict the end of the war. The same doubt embraces the future of the refugees.
First, I want to go somewhere, another country, because now we have the problem, refugee in Croatian have the problem with Croatian people, but I think it's not possible because Croatian people destroy Bosnian embassy. I can't make the paper or go out.
I have guarantee letter from Holland, and I don't have passport, and I have to make myself papers for the travel, and I have to go somewhere.
The past of Milan has been already decided, but who will decide his future?